one more day to look at these word problems. Let's just set up the faucet one quick. A faucet can fill a sink in 5 minutes. So rate, if the faucet is turned on and the drain is left open, how long will it take to fill it? So the rate filling the sink, there's a rate emptying the sink, and then there's a rate total. Okay? So if you're looking at the total, you're going to fill it, but it's going to be emptying, and then that will be the combination. So because the drain is emptying, that makes it kind of different. So I would do it this way. One full sink full is the amount it takes to fill 5 minutes to fill. For one full sink to empty, it takes 8. So what does it take for one full sink to be both of that? X. So if I do the math here, you're going to have 1 over 5 minus 1 over 8 equals 1 over x. Get a common denominator. Maybe we just go 5 times 8x, 5 times 8x, 5 times 8x. Cancel out the x, cancel out the 8, cancel out the 5. So then that's going to give you 8x minus 5x equal 40. So 3x equal 40. I get x is equal to 40 over 3 minutes. So think about it this way. If it took 5 minutes to fill it, 8 minutes to empty it, if you have it turned on, it's going to get higher and higher levels. And eventually it's going to fill up, but it's going to take longer than 5. It's going to take longer than 8 minutes. Well, this is about 13.3 minutes. Does that make sense? Yeah, it does. Because the 5 minutes to fill, the 8 minutes to drain, the combo is it's going to fill slower than 5 minutes. And a little more than double that. Working together, Dan and Donnie can clean up a llama pen in 45 minutes. So rate of Dan plus rate of Donnie should be equal to the rate of both. All right. So on his own, Dan can do this in 1 hour. One job in 1 hour. Donnie can do one job in we don't know how long, and they both can do it in, what is that, 3/4 of an hour. So you're going to get 1 plus 1 over x equal 3 over 4. So we're going to clear that fraction. We're going to multiply by 4 times x, 4 times x, 4 times x, and then we're going to lose the x's here. We're going to lose the 4's. So that's going to result in 4x plus 4 equals 3x. Whoop, did that wrong. I see. 4x just a little mistake here. It's not a biggie, but when I did, it's still one job in 3/4 of an hour. So this is really 4/3. So now when we multiply through, you're going to get 3x, 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 cancel out the 3's, cancel out the x's, and you'll get 3x plus 3 is equal to 4x. So 3 is equal to 4x minus 3x is x. It should take 3 hours for Donnie to do it by himself. Donnie's a little slow. That's all right. Only new thing today, other than working those problems further, is to deal with proportionality. And I just wanted to go through these. This is something you would do in physics and physical science, but it's so helpful because once you start reading these, it's so easy. Y varies directly with. So when you see that, y is going to be proportional, I think you use something like that, to x. What y is proportional to x means y is equal to some constant times x. And a good example of that is Hooke's law. Force is proportional to the length of the spring. Okay. Y varies inversely with. So inversely is y is proportional to 1 over x. So we would write that y is equal to k over x. So that's inversely. And I think the gas, Boyle's law is a good example of that. Pressure is inversely proportional to volume. And then z varies jointly with, so in this case, z is proportional to both x and y together. So we would write that as z is equal to k times x times y. All right, and then some of these are going to be familiar to you. The volume of a right circular cone varies jointly with the square of the radius times the base. Or isn't a cone pi r squared h? Something like that. Okay. And then I'll let you do this one on your own. Okay, so you're going to do some more of these inequalities. Don't forget, make your line, find your zeros. Now this one has no vertical asymptotes, but it does have a 0 at 1/3. So you're going to have 2 regions to test, x equal to 0 and x equal 1, the best things ever. So then when you put in a 0, you're going to get negative 1 over 1. Is that less than or equal to 1? Yes, it is. So these look good in here. When I put the 1 in, I get 3 minus 1 is 2 over 1 squared plus 1, and less than or equal to 1. So I'm going to get 2 over 1. Is that less than or equal to 1? No, it is not. So therefore, my answer will be these, and it is less than or equal to, so we'll include it. X will be less than or equal to 1/3 will be the solution. Now, isn't it odd? I bet you thought that was always pretty hard to do. But with these number lines, finding the zeros, finding the vertical asymptotes, and then doing those test intervals, pretty easy to do. One little trick, though, and I missed it. I missed it on number 15. What I like to do, if possible, is move everything to one side and use 0. It's fine. We were less than 1. No problem. But it is a problem with the x plus 5. So what you can do with that is go 2x plus 17 over x plus 1. And then you're going to subtract x plus 5 times x plus 1 over x plus 1. So then, you know, this is going to be greater than 0, right? So then you get a common numerator and then do all the stuff that we did before. It is way easier to get 0 on the right side because then all you have to do is if it's positive, it works. If it's negative, It doesn't work. And one more problem here. See if you can figure this one out. We've got a garden that's against a wall, and the length we're calling x, and the width we're calling y. So you figure out the total area in terms of x and y. And by the way, they're giving it to you as 100. Find the perimeter, and then answer the questions. What's the minimum amount of fencing needed? See if you can use your calculator. To see. And then here's a couple more of these. I think we did these. No, these are a couple more to try.